You hear the term business resilience thrown around all the time, right? But what does it really mean? Well, it's about way more than just surviving a crisis. It's about building an organization that can actually adapt, endure, and maybe even find some opportunities in all that uncertainty. So, where does that kind of strength really come from? Let's dig in. Okay, let's start with a really simple question. When things go sideways, supply chain snaps, a system goes down, the market just completely shifts, who is actually in charge of steering the ship through that storm? Just take a second. Who's the first person that pops into your head? So, if you immediately thought of the CEO or some senior exec, you're not totally wrong, but you're not exactly right either. See, this idea that resilience is purely a C-suite job, that's a myth. Real, lasting resilience goes so much deeper and is spread so much wider than that. To really get this, we've got to flip the whole corporate pyramid upside down. We're not going to start this conversation in the boardroom. Nope. We're starting at the very foundation. And that foundation, well, that begins with you. Yep, that's right. Every single employee, every specialist, every team member, you are all a critical piece of the puzzle. It honestly doesn't matter what your job title is. You're on the front lines, and the decisions you make every single day can either make the company stronger or expose it to new risks. So, what does that actually look like day to day? We're not talking about some grand sweeping gestures here. It's the small stuff. It's having the awareness to flag a small inefficiency before it becomes a huge problem. It's actually paying attention in those training sessions. And maybe most important of all, it's about building your own personal mindset of being ready to adapt when things inevitably go off script. Think about it this way. Individuals are the bedrock of the entire building. The ability for each person to pivot, to react, to adjust on the fly, that's what keeps the engine running when challenges pop up. Real resilience starts right there. But of course, no one works in a total vacuum. Having a strong foundation is absolutely essential, but it's really just the first step in building something that's truly resilient. So how do we scale this thing up? All right, this is where we start scaling. We're going to look at how all those individual efforts get organized and then amplified, first through teams and then through entire departments. Okay, level 2, the team. We're talking about team leaders, project managers. These are the people whose job it is to be the glue. They bind all those individual efforts together and get everyone's energy focused on a common goal. You can almost think of team leaders as translators. They take those big, strategic resilience goals from up high and make them real and actionable for their team's daily grind. They encourage people to work together, and this is so important. They keep an eye on the team's energy to stop burnout. Because let's be real, a burnt-out team is the exact opposite of a resilient one. They are that essential bridge between the front line and upper management. And from the team, we scale up one more time to the department level. This is where you'll find your department heads, your functional managers. And their role, it shifts a bit from direct execution to more about strategic integration. And here's where you see a really important difference. Teams are all about turning strategy into action on the ground. Departments, on the other hand, are about weaving that strategy into the very fabric of how they operate, embedding resilience into the normal, everyday workflows. One is about doing, the other is about building it into the system. Okay, so we've built our way up from the individual to the team to the department. Now, let's zoom all the way out and get that view from the very top. So here we are, level 4, the organization as a whole. This is the traditional home of resilient strategy, right? This is where senior leadership and the C-suite live. Their job isn't about the day-to-day grind. It's about setting the North Star for everyone else to follow. So what's their main function? Well, they create the environment where resilience can actually grow. They set the vision, they make clear policies, and this is the big one. They put the money and resources where their mouth is. But maybe their most powerful tool is driving cultural change so that resilience becomes second nature to everyone, not just some dusty procedure in a binder. At the end of the day, leadership's job is to take resilience from being a nice-to-have and make it a core strategic priority. They're like the conductor of an orchestra, making sure every single section is playing from the same sheet music, all working towards that one shared goal. But, in this crazy interconnected world we live in, just building a fortress inside your own company isn't enough. True resilience means we have to look beyond our own walls. And that brings us to our 5th and final level, the network. Because no business is an island, right?
Your resilience is directly connected to the resilience of your suppliers, your partners, and all of your key stakeholders.
A company is only as strong as its weakest partner. And that's why this level is all about working together across the entire ecosystem, strengthening the whole supply chain, not just your little link in it. It's about sharing what works, sharing innovations, and keeping those lines of communication wide open, especially when a crisis hits everyone at once.
So we've gone on quite a journey, huh? From a single employee all the way out to a global network of partners. So how does this all fit together? Well, it's not a ladder. It's more like a web, a single, powerful, interconnected system.
See how it all connects? It all starts with the individual. Individuals come together to form teams that turn big ideas into action. Those teams operate within departments that build resilience into their very systems. The whole organization provides the vision and the fuel. And that entire structure is made stronger by its external network. Each level needs and supports all the others. And that, right there, is the biggest takeaway of all. Resilience is never just one person's job. It's not one department's problem to solve. It's a shared, active effort that stretches across every single level. And building this integrated web is what allows a company to do more than just survive. It's what allows it to thrive. And so that brings us right back to where we started, with you. If your organization truly is a web of resilience, with all these threads connecting every person, team, and partner, that leaves just one last question to think about. Which one of those threads are you strengthening today?